Hello, real estate professionals. Welcome. Thank you for joining our monthly Agent Advantage webinar series. My name is Kurt Klaus, and on behalf of the entire Guaranteed Rate family of companies, we'd like to welcome you. We'd like to thank you for learning and being proactive and getting better. Today's webinar topic, timely with Veterans Day, is how to sell more homes with VA buyers. So not only to better serve military veterans and active duty home buyers, but in my opinion, not just learn the VA process and get them into a home, but thank them for their service, for protecting our freedom, serving our country, dedication, commitment, sacrifice, to help show our deep gratitude for all military and all veterans. Near and dear to my heart, my father was in the Army. My stepfather and mother, both Air Force. So looking forward to sharing this topic with everyone. Before we get going, I see people are still logging on. I want to say that this whole webinar series, we do this the first Monday of every month. And this is brought to you by the Agent Advantage website. Agent Advantage is our no cost, no obligation website. It is proprietary to Guaranteed Rate in all of our companies. Our goal here at Agent Advantage is to make your life easier, you, the realtor, help you earn more money. So if you're not part of Agent Advantage, check out the site, join the over 100,000 successful agents who already use Agent Advantage, who trust our platform to help them close loans quickly and grow their business. So Agent Advantage and our team here, we put these webinars on every month. Also, want to give a mention to our Agent Advantage Facebook page. This is our forum. It's a closed group for agents all across the country. You can request to join. We'll put a little QR code up on the screen. Take a picture of that to request to join Agent Advantage Insider. There we have everything we do at Agent Advantage to help agents across the country. The next webinar, we share news, research, data. So it's a forum for agents. We rolled it out a year ago. We've got, I think, 4,000 agents that are part of that. So request to join the Facebook page if you like. So back to our topic at hand, helping you sell more homes with VA buyers. We have 23 million veterans today in America. It's a reason to learn about and pursue veteran business. We want to help you expand your client base. So before we bring our guests on, I want to share a few stats. This is from NAR on VA transactions. Last year, 2021, there were 1.4 million veteran loans, averaged over 720 credit score. 8 out of 10 of those veteran buyers did close, so the defaults are low. And then typically, the average military family will move once every 3 years. So big opportunity here. And to help us understand all things VA, we are very, very lucky today to have two women, both in Hawaii, to share their knowledge of all things VA to help you be more comfortable to do your first VA loan, or if you have done one, to try to do more. So we're big on having, not professional coaches, but people that are really out there doing it. So I am grateful, and I want to thank both of you again. I'd like to introduce, both from Honolulu, Tahiti Reed, who is with Better Homes and Garden. Good morning. I guess it's morning there. How are you, Tahiti?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We're grateful for you to be here. And then also from Hawaii is Kinney Lang. She is with our Guaranteed Rate branch there in Honolulu. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. And you both know each other and have worked together. Why don't you give us a brief introduction to how long you've been in the business and how you started and maybe what percentage of VA your business is.
So I got my license in 2011. So I've been doing this, for a little bit. And, you know, I about maybe 50 to 60% of my business is VA.
Wow.
Hawaii has a huge military population, because there are multiple bases on the islands, being in the middle of the Pacific, right? So there's a huge military presence here. So, like I said, most of my business is between 50 and 60% VA. Yeah.
We have the right person today. Well, thank you. And again, welcome.
Yep.
And Kenny, tell us a little about yourself, please.
Hi, good morning. I'm a military spouse, and I've been with Guaranteed Rate since 2020, right before the pandemic. But I've been in the mortgage business for about 20 years, and yeah, I think my VA business is about 50-50. So we try to do, a pretty good amount of
Two pros, lots of experience between you. So I guess the interview, I'll ask the question and we can get an answer from Tahiti first and then Kenny, but it's an open forum. So I'd like to get the perspective of both um, the agent and where it's appropriate from the loan officer too. So why don't you just start by, telling us, some out there maybe have never done a VA loan, but tell us what are the biggest advantages of a VA loan versus a traditional loan.
one of the best advantages on a VA loan versus conventional loan is that you can do 100% financing with zero down. On a traditional conventional loan, you have to put 20% down. You can put less, but you have to pay private mortgage insurance. So that's one of the biggest factor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The biggest thing is zero down. And also, VA has a lower interest rate most of the time. You have a lower interest rate. And then also there's closing limits. So I don't think they can charge you more than 1% of the total purchase cost. Is that right, Kenny?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then they also have relaxed credit requirements too. So even if your credit isn't the best, you could still obtain a VA loan.
Yep, that is correct. And because VA is more like a budget based loan than a regular conventional loan. So not only do they have a little bit more lax credit requirement, we also look at the residual income versus just solely basing on their debt to income ratio. So.
Nice. So the actual VA process, it's not always the case where they're going through additional steps or jumping through additional hoops. Let's talk about how the process works for someone who's never done one.
The first thing you want to do is get with a lender. So you want to have your clients get with the lender to determine your borrowing power and your purchasing power. Once you establish that, what the lender is going to help do is determine their budget, review all of their income, their assets, so that we can issue what is called a pre-approval. You don't want to start taking clients out if they have a pre-qualification. You want to take clients out when they have a pre-approval, because as a lender, we vetted out their income, their assets. We review all of the documentations. Then you want to, then I would let the referring partner, the agent, know like, hey, they're all good to go. And we determine the price range. So that's what you want to first do, is get your borrowers in front of a lender. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. The very first thing when we come across any buyer, conventional or VA, we say, we prefer to go with a local lender because they know the area, especially in Hawaii, and the time zone changes and things like that. So get with a local area lender and get a pre-approval letter. Like Kinney said, they'll be vetted out, and then you'll know what your borrowing power is before you go shopping. Because as a realtor, the worst thing that we could do is just start taking them to see homes, in any price range, and we have no idea if they can afford that price point. So do your homework up front. Also, the thing that's different about the VA is that some people, will ask them, hey, do you have VA benefits? Are you eligible for a VA loan? And sometimes they're like, I don't know, maybe, but I did serve. And so the easiest way is to check for your certification of eligibility. And Kinney can pull that up, a lender could pull that up to see if you're eligible. And one of the things that requires you to be eligible is at least 90 days service without unbroken time. But if you're unsure if you can qualify for VA benefits, then, that's the first thing, is just checking for a certificate of eligibility.
Yeah, that was one of my future questions. Who is eligible? What are the minimum requirements? And is that something that each of you bring up, especially in the market that you're in, to ask if they or their families have served in the military?
Absolutely. When I'm talking to a client, I always, have a checklist of what I need to ask them. And one of the things is if they have access to a VA loan. Most oftentimes, a lot of retirees, even active military service members, do not know that they've earned this benefit. And it surprises me every single time. So it's one of the questions that I do ask if they have VA entitlements. Yeah.
And what is needed to prove eligibility?
It's super easy. As a lender, we have access to the VA portal, and all we need is the last four, birth date, and their name. And if we can access that instantaneously, we will be able to retrieve the certificate of eligibility, or known as a COE. If we need a DD-214, the veterans will provide a copy, we'll upload it to VA, and it normally takes 2 to 3 business days for VA, or earlier than that, and then we can provide the certificate of eligibility. The veterans themselves and also active military personnel can retrieve a copy, but it's just so much easier if we just did it for them.
Yeah. And that's the importance of, teaming up with an experienced lender who does a lot of VA loans, because they will know exactly how to get that information, where to go, and they're on top of things. So that's super helpful.
And other requirements, those with a past foreclosure, bankruptcy, are they eligible? Any minimum credit scores is different from a conventional loan?
Yeah, so again, VA is very lax with their underwriting guides for their active military service members and their veterans. So if you did have a bankruptcy, you just have to wait a whole year. And then we also need to measure out that you have made consistent payment for the next 12 months. So all in all is about 12 months in total. But just because you have a bankruptcy does not eliminate you completely from using your VA entitlements. Again, you just have to wait out the seasoning period.
Right. Before I answer the next question, I wanted to ask each of you how you got started in doing VA after, being a normal agent or a loan officer. How did it just happen because of where you are, or did you get certification or training, or did you just learn by doing your first one, each of you?
So for me, I'm a military spouse. So this is one of the things where I love to give back, is try to get somebody who's in the military family into a home and educate them along the way, the benefits that they've earned, and they can actually use it. I started doing my own VA because I was really young when I first purchased my home, and I didn't realize the benefit that it offered. I thought I had to save 20% to put down, but I didn't have to. I, purchased our VA home 100% financing with 0% down. I mean, I think for me personally, VA is one of the best loan programs out there. So that's how I got started, is just being in a military spouse and using the loan personally.
So for me, I I have not been in the military myself, but I do have family members in the military. But when I got started, I wasn't helping VA members. I was helping, local people. And basically, the company that I belong to, Better Homes and Gardens, we have a small team called the A team of top producers, and they refer a lot of VA members to us through Better Homes. And that's how, I got started with really helping veterans is through that. And through our company, they do a lot of trainings with us. And, there's a lot of training that goes into helping VA members because their needs are different. And, basically, we just want to help families get into homes, put down some roots, and understand their situation and to see how best we can help them. And so really, we just want to serve them to the best of our ability. And Hawaii does have a huge military population here, so that's another factor of you're going to help a VA member sooner or later if you're selling real estate in Hawaii.
And what type of properties can the VA loan be used for?
You can actually use a VA loan to purchase a condo, single family residence, even a 2 units, 3 units, and 4 units property. So for condos, just as long as they're VA approved, we can definitely finance condos. But again, 1 to 4 unit properties are allowed through a VA loan.
Do the properties have to be buyer occupied?
Correct. It has to be a primary resident. You cannot use a VA loan to purchase as an investment or a second home. You have to physically live there.
And Tahiti, have you done lots of different properties? You've done them all?
Yep, all of them. Yep, we've done multifamily, we've done condos, townhouses, single family, all VA, and they have to move in within a 30-day period, owner occupied. But they can. It's not like that's the only property they can purchase. Once they live there for 2 years, they can go on and purchase another one using their VA entitlements too.
And talk on the limits. How much can veterans borrow?
The new VA is that there is no loan limit so long as you qualify for them. So if a veteran want to, seek a $2 million property, yeah, so long as they qualify for them, we're able to lend them the $2 million. And also just so generalization, it just depends on lender to lender too, depending on the cap they would want to go up to.
Great. So that includes jumbo, and can they refi?
Absolutely. You can refinance at any time, but there has to be a benefit to that refinance. Also, if you just purchase your property, you have to wait out the 210 rule, which means, you cannot refinance right after you purchase. You have to wait those days out. And if you do decide to refinance, we have to measure the benefit to the refinance. So we want to make sure that, lenders are not taking advantage. So we definitely have to make sure to review that for the veterans.
Yeah. And so Tahiti, doing a split between VA and normal, like speak to what you think are the unique needs of a military client. And you mentioned before that some don't even know that they qualify for the benefits, but how do you share and educate them on what the benefits are, and just speak on kind of the main difference in your opinion for the military clients you help?
Yeah. So, the main benefits, I basically ask them, are you a service member? Do you think you can qualify? And then once we establish, yes, you can. And I let them know, look, you can put zero down, right? Who doesn't love that? Zero down. And then, no private mortgage insurance, no PMI. So that's huge. And interest rates are lower. And the VA process too, it's not as difficult as people may think. It's very similar as a conventional loan. You're still going through your inspection period, you're still going through getting an appraisal, all of these things. It's the same, but just through VA, and you can close in 30 days. Kinney has closed many VA loans in 30 days for us. And, it's just staying on top of things. But the unique needs for VA families or VA people are, I always make sure that I know they're only going to live there for a certain amount of time. If they're
Yeah.
only here in Hawaii, right, for like 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years at the, longest, maybe, I'm looking at what would the resale value be on this home. So if they're buying a property that maybe they could fix up a little bit, because VA is, strict about buying, fixer uppers, right? It can't be too much in bad shape. So, we want to make sure VA members are moving into solid homes that are good, quality. But I'm always looking at what would the resale be. And, granted, we never know, 5 years from now, who knows? Another COVID might hit, God forbid. You know what I mean? Like, we just never know what the market's going to do. But just as an agent, I always keep that in mind, their resale value, because I know they're not going to be here, as long.
Yeah, very different than a family that may live there for 20 years and
Exactly.
stay there for schools. Yeah, very, very different.
Yep. Yeah. And, we want to make sure that, if the spouse is deployed, then, the other spouse with the children, they're safe, they're in a good school district, and so those spouse that's deployed can rest easy that, what, my family's in a good home, in a good area.
Yeah. And I'll ask this one to Kenny. Is a VA loan always going to be the best mortgage for the veteran, and when would it not be?
That's a great question. It can be, and sometimes it cannot be. Like, for instance, if they're going to purchase for a primary resident, we're going to look at all their finances. And if, again, the benefit is 100% financing with 0% down, and that's for a primary resident. But if they're coming in and trying to purchase a second home or investment property, they can't use their VA loan, so we have to go conventional. So we'll make sure that we look at all of the products and loan programs out there to make sure that the VA loan that they have access to is the most advantageous.
Yeah. You were both talking about eligibility. Also, family, children, parents. How far does it stretch?
There are about 7 sectors of the military that have access: the Air Force, Marines, Navy. You have the Coast Guard, even NOAA. Yeah, even NOAA. And I'll put a list up for you too, so you can kind of see. But even surviving spouse have access to VA loan. We just have to make sure that they're eligible. So the list is pretty long. So just because you're not in the Army or the Navy or the Air Force or the Marines doesn't eliminate you. There are a long list of service members that have access to the VA loan.
Yeah. And you surviving
Yep.
spouse, you mentioned, correct? Yeah. I don't think my mother even knew. And tell us what you enjoy most about working with and helping veterans.
They're like the most grateful people that I ever come across doing loans for. They're just down to earth. They're just real. They're people that want a place of their own, and it's just a joy to kind of walk them through the whole entire process to get them into a home, because PCSing to a different location is already stressful enough. To have a team of a loan officer or real estate agent to help them transition into their new station is just a way for us to give back. So I just enjoy the whole entire process because I've been there myself.
Yeah. The great thing about service members, like Kenny said, they're very grateful. And, when they're PCSing, which means permanent change of station, there's nothing permanent about the PCSing situation. And, I love speaking with them because they've been all over the world. They've lived in Germany, Japan, Italy, like they've lived all over. And so to hear their life experiences on where they've been, the cultures they've experienced, even though Hawaii is a melting pot, still it's so nice to hear their stories on, where they've been and what schools their kids have gone. Some kids are coming speaking, fluent Italian and whatnot. And I'm just like, wow. So it's really, really great.
Yeah, and I would think such a close-knit group like the military or base, the referral business happens organically. Do you find lots of deals result in more within their base or group?
Absolutely, because once you help one veteran or active military service, they're very knit tight with their communities to start off with. So then you get a lot of word of mouth and referrals from the active military service members. Yes. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Kenny and I are helping one from VA member we've helped a couple years ago, and he just referred his friend to us. And so Kenny just pre-approved him, and we're gonna, start looking at properties. So, and that was, word of mouth from someone we've helped in the past.
Yeah. So on the other side, what in your opinion, each of you are the biggest challenges that you've seen? What comes up most often specific to doing a VA deal?
Getting them pre-approved outside of their BAH or basic housing allowance, because a lot of times they like to stick within that time, that price point. And due to the higher interest rate and the market, it's trying to get them to where they need to be, because there's families where there's just the two of them, or there's a family size of six. So just we welcome all challenge, and we try to get them the best house possible by trying to fit their budget into the financing piece. So that's one of the challenge. But again, we work it out, and it just works out most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with Kenny. On the agent side, one of the biggest challenges is just getting them familiar with the sticker shock of Hawaii. So, they're moving from maybe the States, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's really expensive here, for, something that's 500,000 on the mainland doesn't equate to something that's $500,000 here, which is maybe like a smaller 2-bedroom condo. And then, on the mainland, you can have a big, nice house, right? So I think that's the most difficult thing for us, is to just show them, like, this is the price of paradise. We only have so much land, you can't keep going, west or whatever. That's it. There's the ocean. So it's the price of paradise. I think that's one of the hardest things. But once they realize, like, what, yeah, okay, we get it, and then we're fine.
Well, a quick one for Tahiti, advice for an agent. And it sounds like your background for an agent that doesn't come from the military, how you kind of got in, and Kenny was talking about speaking the language. How did you find the start, and what advice would you give to someone who wants to pursue VA and does not come from a military background?
I would say, if your company has some kind of VA group within realtors, like maybe team up with a realtor in your office that does a lot of VA and learn from them, and hopefully you have a good culture in your company that agents are willing to share, like, hey, this is what I do. And, I know we have that at Better Homes, which we're so grateful for. So I've trained under the owner of our company, who's really, really good wealth of information for us. But, our company does offer trainings and things like that. So, but also I would say, look on Facebook. There's so many military groups, buy and sell. We list our listings. We put our listings on Facebook groups, and there's so many military members are asking about the property. And then you just start the conversation. Things have to be, to me, things have to be natural and organic and reach out, one to one, because if you're trying to do like mass emails and stuff, these service members, they can sniff out what's fake and what's not. You know what I mean? So you got to show up genuine. You're a real person wanting to help them. And I think if they feel your intention and your heart, they'll say, okay, I want to work with you. And just keep providing value. A lot of people online, they just want to, give me your info, give me your contact info. And no one wants that, right? So you got to give them value. If you're, trying to do Facebook ads or things like that, give value. So my advice is just continue to provide value, be of service, and, the business will come. I always tell people, stop chasing the money.
Yeah.
Stop chasing the money. Don't chase the money, because your intentions are different. But when you chase being of service, like these people, because they're service members, they're of service. So if you can be of service to them, I think that's huge.
Yeah. I know you chatted some to me earlier. Any websites or resources that we can share for where people can go for more information on this?
Yeah, so I think I shared two websites. There's one, lgy.va.gov. That one, you can check. Okay, so not all properties are VA approved. I think we should mention that. Not all condos, townhouses are VA approved. They have to meet a certain criteria. And so for an agent to, before you write up an offer on a condo or a townhouse, please go to that website and check if they meet the criteria. So that's one thing that, yep, yep. And then, yeah, so sorry, go ahead and ask the other
No.
question.
I think the other one was va.gov housing assistance, home loans eligibility to again check for eligibility in a specific property.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
checking for eligibility. And then, I did want to mention one other thing. As an agent, when you're writing up a VA loan offer in your purchase contract, this is something that we put in because, to make your offer more competitive. We understand the market shifting and everything, but we'll ask our service members, do you have even maybe like $1,000 or $2,000 down, just so that the seller knows you have some skin in the game, but you'll get refunded this. And this is the verbiage we put in our offer. We put, at closing, buyer's deposit of, X amount to be returned to buyer or applied towards buyer's closing cost. And so that down payment, at least it shows a good faith, that they're, willing to buy it. They're putting some money in, even though VA loans, you can put zero down, but at the very end during closing, then they can get that money refunded or be applied towards closing costs. So that's one thing that, makes our offers a little more competitive, as, in the eyes of a seller, when they look at, in zero down, or, at least 1,000 or 2,000 down.
Very good. Do you have any of the VA military certifications? Would you
So yeah, honestly, I don't have any military certifications, but I belong to, like I said, a small group of agents called the A Team at Better Homes and Gardens, and we're constantly working with VA, and we're constantly getting updated trainings. So, our company works with, a lot of other military networks as well. And so our Better Homes and Gardens has a wide reach. And so they're constantly feeding us buyers and sellers who are VA members. And, we're always getting trained on those. So there's only 7 of us at our company that are, in this group. So we feel very grateful.
Nice. And for Kinney, as far as timing, what are closing turnaround times? Similar, same certificate of eligibility and the appraisal timelines? Can you speak on the
Yeah,
times?
so we can definitely close the guarantee rate a VA loan in about 30 days. Some contracts want to close in 45 days. That's completely fine, but we're confident to close in 30 days. The appraisal, the appraiser that goes out to inspect the property has to be a VA certified appraiser. So the time frame for that can be, depending on how busy the market is, it can take up maybe 10 business days. So it's pretty quick. And yeah, about 30 days or less is our VA loan closing time frame.
Yes, great. And for both of you, do either of you do any specific marketing targeting towards the military community or events or anything in the community as far as prospecting?
You know, I'm really bad at marketing this, so I have to be quite honest. But because the VA is such a tight niche community, a lot of our business is referral business because we come from um, a service mind frame, and we help the client to the best of our ability, and we are just genuinely helping. So it's a referral business for me. We also do an outreach through AUSA, so we're volunteers, and we help educate the military newcomers to the island how to transition into their new home here. And we also educate them about their VA home loan benefits. So we do that through AUSA, which is towards the Army. And then we also volunteer through the Navy League, and we go in and educate them with their VA about their VA home loan benefits as well. Again, not a lot of people are aware that they are entitled to this benefit, so we try to educate as many service members as possible.
Yeah, so I don't know if I can say this or not, but uh, we do a lot of business through Navy Federal Credit Union, USAA, and they, I go to the bank and we have bank days over there. So, we're in the lobby meeting people and educating them on, hey, this is your benefits, and the good thing is that even if they sign up through the Navy Federal Credit Union, they get a cash back, but they don't have to use Navy Federal Credit Union as a loan to get the cash back. So I funnel these leads through Kinney because Kinney's the best on island, in my opinion. And so through Kinney, they still get the cash back, even if they use Kinney. So this is a win-win situation for everyone. And we're out there in the community, serving everyone, local people and VA members. Hawaii is a small place. So once the word gets out that, hey, these are great agents, this is a great loan officer, you're going to be busy, because yeah, it is a tight knit community and we're on an island. And so there's only so many of us.
Yeah, and that takes into my next question. I realize you're certain parts of the country have higher numbers than other Hawaii, San Diego, I'm sure, Virginia. But are there ways for anyone, regardless of where they are, to find groups in their area and to contact them? Would you recommend there?
um, I would just say go online. Go online, look for groups. There's so many groups that are, doing things in any topic. So, there's one, military buy and sell. I think there's just so many groups out there. Just go online, start looking for groups. There's get-togethers. Now that COVID is laxed, you know what I mean. We can see each other now in person. So, it's people are starting to gather and go out there, find your people. And I feel like if your intentions are right, like your vibe will attract your tribe, right? Your vibe will attract your tribe. So if you're vibrating in a, a space of service, these people are going to come, you're going to find them.
Yeah, just like any other business, get out there. It's face to face. But this particular group, that moving every couple of years.
Yep. So my advice would be, once you sell them the property, keep in touch with them, check in on them, wish them happy birthday. Don't be asking them for business right after you close. Just check in on them genuinely. They're human just like us, and see how their kids are doing. And they know you're a realtor. You know what I mean? So yeah, and when it comes time to sell, they're gonna call you because you've kept in touch with them. And I think that's where a lot of realtors may have a downfall, is they don't keep in touch with their past clients because they're busy with new business, right? But it's where the old business is where you'll get most of your referrals, is because they already know, trust, and love you.
Very well said. Thank you for that. And before we let you go, do either of you have any closing advice here to our agent audience before we finish the webinar today?
Yeah, so just a friendly reminder, if you do come across a buyer, just ask them the question if they have any military background, because again, it's 100% financing with 0% down, and the rates are historically lower than a conventional loan. It doesn't hurt to ask, so it's a very powerful purchasing tool that the veterans and active military service member have in their back pocket, and maybe they had no idea that they earned it, and they have the entitlements to purchase with 100% down. So yeah, and their spouse is correct.
Yep. I think, the biggest thing, if you're just starting out and not really familiar with VA loans and its process, is maybe, teaming up with a experienced agent that does a lot of VA business. And then also, researching who's the top VA lender in your area, calling them, and, just maybe asking them questions and teaming up with them. And, you'll be in good hands.
Very good. Thank you again, both of you, for your time and for joining us from Hawaii. Aloha and happy Veterans Day. And on behalf of the Guaranteed Rate family of companies, we'd like to thank everyone for joining the webinar. A reminder that we will do these again the first Wednesday of each month. So, on behalf of the Agent Advantage team, I'm Kurt Klaus. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Aloha.
Mahalo. Bye.